Hello, hello, hello. Anyways, hello everyone. Welcome to Unacademy. So before starting today's session, I would like to have the input as well as the concurrence regarding the quality of video as well as audio. If it has been perfect, just write perfect over the live chat and then we will start today's session. Tell me. Just a minute. Wait a bit. Hello everyone. Welcome to Unacademy. So before starting today's session, I would like to have the input as well as the concurrence regarding the quality of video as well as the audio from each one of you. And then we will start today's session. As you guys have been following my lectures since last 18 to 19 number of days, we had already completed the important topics within the engineering mathematics, and they were the concept of continuity, differentiability, existence of the limit, series, concept of maxima and minima, and few number of questions are already taken from the concepts of series. And now, since last day onwards, we had been focusing over the concept of integral calculus. So obviously, let me focus over the few number of questions which have been there in front of you. For the each and individual question, I am going to give you 3 minutes. Within 3 minutes, you had to solve that problem out, and you had to give the comment over the comment box. And then we will slowly understand, or we will try to build up the concept on the concept of what? Yeah. So let me focus over the question now and tell me what could have been the best most answer over here in this given question. So the question which I am going to take over here is been question number 18. Question number 18. So randomly I would be selecting the question actually, and we will try to smash this problem out. So here comes the next question. This question has already been asked in PE in year of 2016. Read it carefully and tell me what could have been the best most answer. And probably many of the students who had already made this kind of questions in class 12th, they would be able to recall even that concept as well. And your timer starts now. For the each and individual question, I am going to give you 3 minutes. Tell me what would have been the best most answer for this given question. The value of the definite integral from 1 to e ln of x dx is equals to. So whenever you have been attending my class, you should have a copy as well as pen. If needed, the virtual calculator which you are going to use in gate examination. And with the help of this many inputs, definitely you will be able to learn the thing, and you will also learn the thing within a stipulated frame of time. Read it carefully and tell me what would be the best most answer. Read it carefully and tell me what would be the best most answer. The value of the definite integral which starts from 1 to e ln of x over dx. Ln of x over dx. Tell me what would be the answer over here. I need the answer from each one of you. Tell me what could have been the best most answer for this given question. Is it been visible? Let me come this side. Tell me what would be the answer for this given question. So probably this stipulated frame of time must have been enough for you. So the student who could not solve this problem within this stipulated frame of time, they had to focus a bit more over the concept of integration. Let me focus on this problem now. Let me copy this down. My dear friend, what used to be the integration of ln of x? That has been 1 upon x. Is it? That's been the point where the major of the student would do the mistake. My dear friend, the differentiation of ln of x is stand for 1 upon x, whereas the integration of ln of x has been tricky. So what you had to do, you had to go ahead with the integration by parts. You had to multiply ln of x with a certain number whose integration has been possible, whereas the differentiation of ln of x has been very much possible. So here I would be using the concept of integral by parts. Integral by parts. Integral by parts. So what I would do, I would change the structure of this function a bit, and we will take an integration of x into 1, because once we'll multiply any of the function with 1, definitely its nature does not change. But what's been the major advantage which we get by multiplying it 1? Obviously the 1 is been integrable, whereas the ln of x has been a properly differentiable, and we will be using the integration by parts. Probably I understand the integration by parts is being known to all of us. So what happens? What we do? We take function, the integration of the function which has been integrable, minus of integration of, then probably this thing must be clear to all of us. So what had been happening, you yourself would be able to understand. So at very beginning, ln of x would remain as it is. The integration of the integrable function would take place as x. Then goes integration. And then comes the differentiation of the function and integration of a function. So ln of x stands for 1 upon x, and the integration of 1 stands for d of x. D of x. The limit we will be feeding at last. So at least I don't have to worry about the limit and all. Limit and all. So here comes x ln of x, and then here comes x and x waves off. The integration of 1 is simply been x. So here comes x. And now the limit is part has been fed in, and this goes from 1 to e. You can see if any mistake has been made, but I feel no mistake has been done. So 1 upon x is getting multiplied with x, that would stand 1. Integration of 1 is been simply x, and here comes x ln of x minus of x. So in next step, what I would do, I would start feeding the data now. See what happens. We will be feeding x as e, as upper limit. Then comes ln of e. Ln of e stands for 1. That remains as it is. Minus of again e only. E. This has been the upper limit which had been fed in. Then comes minus times of. 1 is been fed over here, but here it becomes minus of 1. Put together 1, ln of 1, that is being 0. And here comes 1 again. 1 again. So what happens? The e and e is went out. Even in the upper side only. In upper limit itself, the e, ln of e stands for 1. So it had been rest with the e only. E minus of e had been went out. And once we'll differentiate with this. So the result is simply been, the result which we have been getting is been 1. So I feel the student who had been watching my video, this should have got the value as 1. Should have got the value as 1. So the important thing which you had to learn from this problem, and that is been the integration by parts, which we have already studied in class 12th, and that has been integration. Let's take between the two definite real numbers a and b of the function which has been written in a form of fx gx, where the gx is being integrable, whereas the fx is being integrable as well as differentiable. So what I would do, the integration is bit trickier process. So I would focus over the function which is being integrable. So here comes f of x. Then comes integration of gx dx. Then comes minus of integration of the differentiation of fx. And then integration of gx. And here comes dx over dx. And the same process has been used over here, and the answer which we have received now, and that has been simply one. So I think it's been the right time I should also be taking the next question as well. And as it had been told clearly, that today I would be focusing over the integral calculus only. So the next question is been the question from the metallurgy science in year of 2016. So let me read this problem carefully, and then we will try to smash this problem out. Again, the 3 minutes would be allocated for this question. Let me bring this question towards working board for the better understanding. So here comes the question now. Here comes the question now. And your time starts now. So 3 minutes would be given for this question as well. Read it carefully and tell me what could have been the best most answer for this given question. Read it carefully and tell me what could have been the answer for this given question. I need the input from each one of you. The student who had not been subscribed our channel, yet they should subscribe so that in future they can give me the proper reply over the live chat. So read it carefully. Let me come to this side. Read it carefully and tell me what would have been the best most answer. What would have been the best most answer for this given question? I want the input from each one of you. I want the input from each one of you. Read it carefully and tell me what could have been the best most answer. Again, this problem is based on the concept of integration by parts. Integration by parts. You could have taken the help of integration by parts to solve this problem out. Read it carefully and tell me what would be the best most answer. Why the people are not been commenting or not been giving the answer? This is not the correct way, na? As 5 people have been keep watching and they have not been giving any kind of input. That is not the correct way. Read it carefully and tell me what would have been the best most answer. What would have been the best most answer for this given question? Because you can expect you have been from either of the branch. This kind of the questions are been very prevalent in GATE examination. Tell me what would have been the best most answer for this given question. Viswanathan. According to him, the answer has been 1. Anyone else apart from Viswanathan? We had to check it out whether the answer has been 1 or not. Approximately 20 seconds are been left out. I want at least 1 or 2 more number of inputs. Viswanathan, I would just suggest you must have taken bit lesser amount of time. 2 minutes are been more than adequate for this kind of questions. For this kind of questions. Anyways, time is up. My dear friend, this problem is also being based on the concept of integration by parts. Anyways, the 2 functions are being involved over here, the f of x and g of x. The first function, and anyways, this has been a special category of problem which is been where the function of x fx and function of x gx both are been integrable and both are been differentiable. So the differentiation has to be taken for the sin x, or whether I should go ahead with the taking differentiation of x. Obviously, I should be going ahead with the taking the differentiation of x. Why? Because it has been a running polynomial, or it has been a standard polynomial. What used to be the structure of a standard polynomial? It used to be x to the power of n plus maybe a1, a to the power of x to the power of n minus 1, where the power of x has always been a whole number, including 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Why I am saying it's been whole number? If it has been whole number, if you'll be keep differentiating it, its power would be continuously going down, and end of the day it becomes a constant value. Rather having x, if must have been x squared, then also it's okay. But if must have been x to the power of half, then integration of parts will not work. Why? Because the x to the power of half, once you'll differentiate it, it is going to be x to the power of 3 by 2, 5 by 2, or if we'll differentiate it, then also it becomes 1 upon 2 root over of x. Nowhere it is going to end somewhere. So obviously we are going to take this as the g of x, for which the differentiation would be taken place, and sine of x as a f of x, for which the integration would be taken place. And anyways, the part of integration and differentiation I am going to do within the brain itself. See what happens once you'll take its integrands. Definitely you had to solve this integration using the integration by parts, and end of the day we will be keeping its upper limit and lower limit. So very beginning, what happens, the x would remain as it is, the integration of sine of x would take place, and keep in mind the integration of sine of x is going to be minus of cos of x. Why? Because once you'll take a differentiation of minus of cos of x, that distance sine x. So here comes like this. Again, here the integration would take place. Now the integration as well as the differentiation both are going to take place. So integration of sine of x is nothing but minus, and minus becomes plus. So here comes cos of x, that's quite okay. Which comes cos of x, which comes cos of x, that is quite okay. And now in the same sequence, if we'll take a differentiation of x, that becomes dx only. That becomes dx only. Is that part clear to all of us? Is that part clear? So now we have to take the integration of sine of x only. So that is the part which we have been addressing over here. So here comes pi is equals to, sorry, I is equals to minus x cos of x, and the integration of cos of x has been simply equals to of sine x. That's it. That's it. So I think it's been the right time I should be feeding its upper as well as lower limit, and once you'll be feeding its upper and lower limit, I should reach to my exact answer. See what had been happening. The upper limit has been pi by 2. Pi by 2, and similarly lower limit is being 0. My dear friend, let me feed 0. Once you'll feed 0 over here, no, so x makes it 0, and once you'll feed 0 over here, no, sin x makes it 0. So one thing has been quite sure, the lower limit part has been simply 0. So let me focus over only and only pi by 2. When we'll be feeding pi by 2, this is completely goes off. This is again been 0, and once you'll be feeding upper limit as pi by 2, the sin pi by 2 is been remained, and the answer has been 1. Correct. Viswanathan, the answer which you had given, no, that has been extremely correct. So I would request to each one of you, the level of the questions which have been asked in GATE examination, they are not been very difficult. If you'll compare with JEE mains and JEE advanced, nowhere it has been. But still you should have a little bit idea how to go ahead with this kind of question. So I think it's been the right time I should also be taking few more number of questions based on the concept of integral calculus which are been keep asked in GATE examination. Keep asked in GATE examination. Okay, then let me take another question. Which question I should take? I want to take a better question where improper integration has been taken place. Improper integration. Anyways, let me take this kind of question as well. This kind of question as well, which includes the integral as well as differential calculus. And this problem has been a part of, this question has been a part of GATE Mechanical year of 1995. The problem was framed by IIT Kanpur. So read it carefully and tell me what must have been the best most answer for this given question. So this has been the question, and here starts timer. Here starts timer. Read it carefully and tell me what would have been the best most answer. Again, 3 minutes are being allocated for this given question. Again, 3 minutes are being allocated for this given question. Has it been given with the options? No. Then dy by dx is, keep in mind, this has been a very old question, so probably dy by dx is supposed to come in a form of function. Obviously, it is supposed to come in a form of function. So tell me what would have been the best most answer for this given question. What must have been the answer for this given question? Tell me, Viswanathan, according to you, what is going to be the answer over here? What is going to be the answer over here? I need the answer from each one of you. Tell me what would have been the best most answer. This problem should not take more than 50 to 60 seconds. Tell me what could have been the answer over here. What could have been the answer over here? And as it had been a very old questions, in integration of uv, I let power minus 2 comes under algebraic or inverse, which terms is u? I can understand. No, Madhu, what I am saying, if power has been raised to the minus of 2, definitely even that problem would not get solved using the integration by parts. That has to be given in such a way that the power of x has to be a whole number only. Anyways, if you'll focus on this kind of question, no, this has not been a very difficult question. Just try to understand how logically we can smash this problem out. My dear friend, once you'll have an integration of cos of t, keep in mind the integration is being taken with respect to the t, that means the variable is being t. So cos of t, once it gets integrated, it becomes sine of t. The upper limit would be fed as a x square and the lower limit would be fed as a 1. Anyways, it becomes sine of x square minus of sine of 1. And once you'll differentiate it with respect to the x, sine of 1 being a constant would become 0 once it gets differentiated with respect to the x. So virtually speaking, once you'll focus over this question, in this question they were seeking about the differentiation of sine over of x square. How many of us are been agreeing on this point? Obviously, sir, this has been the basic funda behind this question. So what we have been doing, we had been doing the differentiation of sine of x, that stands for cos of, instead the x, it had been x square, so it would remain as it is, and then we will take a differentiation of x square, and the result which we are expecting is being 2x cos x, which has been raised to the power of 2. 2x cos x, which has been raised to the power of 2. So probably this fundamental must have been clear to all of us. For the better understanding what they could have done, they could have asked to calculate dy by dx at a certain point. Let's take at x is equals to pi by 2. In that case, it must have been a well-designed NAT, numerical answer type. See, this has been a very old question. No, in earlier times, they used to have a descriptive question as well, where you had to write the answer and they'll check it out, and accordingly, they will do the step marking as well. So this has been the question in that era. So don't get confused. No, don't get confused. So I think it's been the right time. I should also be taking few more number of questions from the concept of integration now. From the concept of integration now. We were taking this question in yesterday's class. So anyways, let me focus over this question once again. It is a tremendous, well-designed problem. I know many of the students would struggle a lot while doing the calculation with this question. And definitely this question deserves even more than 3 minutes. Anyways, read this problem carefully and tell me what could have been the best most answer for this given question. So let's take the timer has been here. Read it carefully and tell me what would be the best most answer. I got this answer. Great, dear. But I feel this has been the question where the major of the student would struggle. Major means major. I can say almost. Almost students are going to struggle at this point. Read it carefully and tell me what would have been the best most answer. Let me come aside and you can straight away look into this question. Read it carefully and tell me what could have been the best most answer for this given question. Viswanathan, just try it out. Viswanathan, are you been from Tamil Nadu? I had worked there in Tamil Nadu for the span of 5 years. So Tamil Nadu is very near to my heart. Nathan, no, probably you must be from Tamil Nadu. Tell me. I need the value of k from each one of you. Where the integration of modulo of x sin x over 0 to 2 pi stands for k pi. I need the value of k now. I need the value of k now, which will satisfy the left hand limit as well as the right hand limit. Two pi, don't do that. Don't do, Viswanathan. Yes. The pi must have been brought out. So the multiplied term with the pi would go ahead with k. Would go ahead with k. Anyways, let me focus on this question now. So probably this much time must have been more than adequate for you guys. The major discrepancy where the student would do over this question, and that is been while keeping its limit. So until and unless you are not able to draw the structure of the x sin x within your brain, probably you are going to stuck on this given question. See what had been happening. My dear friend, rather focusing over the complete magnitude of x sin x, just focus over the x sin x. You can see over here the sin x has been a keep oscillating signal in between -1 to 1. And the x is going to be a straight line with the slope is equals to +1 crossing through the origin. Virtually speaking, this multiplier function is going to be a envelope for the sin of x. So if we'll try to draw it out, how it would look. Let me have a look on it. Let's take this has been the y-axis, and here goes the x-axis, and this has been the y-axis. And as it had been said, this x is going to be envelope over here. So x had become an envelope over here. Yes, envelope. And as the sign of x is being keep oscillating, it would become an envelope for the upper side as well as lower side both. Yes, no? Why? Because when the sign of x is been positive, getting multiplied with a positive value, it would make it positive. But when the sign of x becomes negative, although the x remains positive, still it becomes negative. And that is why both of the signs are being taken over here. Virtually speaking, if you try to draw how the x sin x curve would look like, probably you would have a little bit idea about it. At x is equals to 0, obviously it becomes 0. And what happens till pi by 2, both are being positive, it will make a lower facing parabola towards upper side. But from, try to understand what I'm saying, from what had been happening, from pi to 2 pi, x has been positive and sin of x has been negative. Virtually speaking, as such here there would not be any change. Why there had not been any change? Because sin of x, if it has been positive, x has already been positive. Sin x has been negative, x has already been positive. Virtually speaking, there would not be any change in swing. There would not be any change in swing. But if we'll go towards left hand side, the things are being different. What had been happening? Towards left hand side, the value of x has been negative. Where the sign of x becomes negative, it would make it positive, and where it becomes positive, it would make it negative. So in between 0 to minus of pi, the sign of x, if you'll see, it has been negative, but it becomes positive over here. So virtually speaking, this has been a special category of the problem which has been like this. This problem must have been even better if they must have asked to take the integration from a left hand side, because major of the student would make a mistake over here. This has been the graph of, I repeat, this has been a graph of only and only x sin x, and now it's been the turn. We should take its modula, and once we'll take its modula, what's the change we have been experiencing over here? That means the complete curve will never be falling towards a negative value of y, because this cannot make it a negative value. When the value which becomes negative will take its modular, like -2 becomes +2, -3 becomes +3. So virtually speaking, here there had not been any problem, but the lobe which was coming down has to come up, and same goes over here as well, So let me do one thing, let me rub this down, and how this structure would be, you yourself would be able to appreciate that point. So here it becomes like this: 0 to pi, then pi to 2 pi, then 2 pi to 3 pi, so on and so forth. And that is also been the case towards left hand side as well. It's been like this. It's been kind of this. So what had been the major difference over here? If as you have been integrating from 0 to 2 pi, so x sin x as well as magnitude of x sin x from 0 to 2 pi, 0 to pi remained same. 0 to pi remained same. But from pi to 2 pi, the behavior of x sin x and its modula, it's just been inverted. Or I should say, the magnitude of x sin x in my area of concern, which has been from 0 to 2 pi, would have been written as x sin x from x is being 0 to pi, and then it goes minus times of x sin x when the x goes from pi to 2 pi. And as it had been a continuous function, I can take a equal sign as well. So Viswanathan, I would like to know from you, did you do the same concept or not? Had you splitted the magnitude of x sin x into two parts, from 0 to pi, that is been the x sin x, and from minus x sin x from pi to 2 pi. Anyways, what I would do, again the integration by parts has to be done. So what I would do, rather doing the integration by parts again and again, what I would do, I would just extract the integration by parts of x sin x, and end of the day, we will be feeding its limit now. So let me focus over, just a minute. Let me focus over. X sin x. So yes, integration by parts has to be made. X sin x dx. And as I had indicated earlier, you need not to do each and individual calculation over the copy. Major of the calculation has to be made over the mind itself. See what had been happening. Obviously, x would go for the differentiation. So the first term used to be x, then the integration. So you virtually speaking, it is been minus of x into cos of x. Yes. Then comes minus sign. And again, the integration would be taken place. The minus sign would come out. And towards the inner side, the integration of sin x has been minus cos x. Minus is already been come out. It is simply going to be cos of x. And the differentiation of x leads only and only 1. Cos x dx. So here comes the result has been, and that has been minus x cos of x, and here comes sin of x. This has been the integration. Now it has to be made into two different parts. So what I would do, rather jumping from 0 to 2 pi, which we can't do here at least because the nature of the curve is being changed, I will do the integration in parts of x sin x dx, and then plus minus times of x sin x dx. Virtually speaking, I could have taken this as a minus. I know major of the student would get smashed at this point only, and they become pi to 2 pi over x times of sin x dx. So let me come down to this part. So let me take in two parts that had already been discussed earlier, and then it comes 0 to pi, and here comes pi to 2 pi. And yes, no, is that part clear to all of us? And here the minus sign is to be taken place. Rather taking plus, the minus sign is to be taken place. So let me start feeding the data over here. See what happens. Once you'll feed 0 over here, this has been smashed. Once you'll feed 0 over here, it's been smashed. 0 to pi, no, the lower limit is been smashed. And once you'll be feeding the upper limit, what have been happening, my dear friend? So here I will be feeding pi, and as we know, the cos of pi has been minus of 1. Virtually speaking, minus 1 into minus of pi, that becomes plus of pi, and sine of pi is simply 0. So virtually speaking, this becomes pi over here. And now the same thing has been done over here as well. See, if you'll feed 2 pi, no, 2 pi, then also the things are not been changing. So we will be taking the upper limit first. We will be taking the upper limit first. See what had been happening. Once we'll be feeding 2 pi, so cos of 2 pi or cos of 0 remains 1. This becomes 0. And virtually speaking, this has been minus of 2 pi. Minus of 2 pi. The upper limit. And now we will be focusing the lower limit as well. So the lower limit has been same, no? Upper limit and lower limit has been same, no? So here it becomes, yes, agreed. So virtually speaking, tell me what must have been the answer. KV Sonathan, tell me what must have been the answer for this given question. If any kind of mistake has been made, we can point it out, but I don't feel any of the mistake has been done as far as this problem is being concerned. So here it has been minus, and here it comes minus of 2 pi. Cos of 0 remains 0. That is quite okay. And then we will be feeding pi now, minus of pi. So minus of pi, which make it, yes. So cos of pi, which has been minus of 1, that becomes plus, and again it has been subtracted and becomes minus of pi. Minus of pi. Anyways, once we'll take it out, no, the result which has been expected, has been pi plus of 2 pi plus of pi, which stands for 4 of pi, had been compared with the k of pi. So the value of k is being 4. You had made a mistake. 5 or 4? 2, 3, 4 only, no? 4 only. So Viswanathan, where did you make a mistake actually? And this has been a kind of question which have been asked in GATE examination. You can't say that this kind of questions are been rarely asked. They had been asked actually. They had been asked. 4. Okay then. So in the same sequence, I think it's been the right time. I should also be taking few more number of questions as well. So here comes the next question. This has been a great question, which combines the concept of integration as well as the concept of limit as well. So let me focus on this question now. Let me take this question towards working board, and we will try to smash this problem there only. This has been a problem which had been asked in chemical engineering, CH. Let me bring this question towards working board. Here comes the question actually. Here comes the question. And your time starts now. Read it carefully and tell me what could have been the best most answer. And your time starts now. Tell me what must have been the best most answer for this given question. The function gx, if g of 0 is being 0, g dash 0 is being 2, then I need to find the limit x tends to 0 of 0 to gx of 2t by x dt is equals to. Read it carefully and tell me what could have been the best most answer. What must have been the best most answer for this given question? I want the input from each one of you. I would request to each one of you, I want the comment from each one of you. This has not been the case that I had been keep teaching and you have been keep watching. I want the two-way communication. Then only I will be able to feel the connectivity with you guys. Tell me what would be the best most answer. Still 1 minute have been left out. And this question should not take more than 3 minutes. And that is why in its standard 3 minutes countdown timer is being allocated for the each and individual question. Each and individual question. Read it carefully and tell me what would have been the best most answer. Read it carefully and tell me what would have been the best most answer. Anyways, the student who have been live, at least I want the hi from them. Don't be robot here, please. Don't be robot. At least I want hi from each one of you. The 5 to 6 number of concurrent viewers you have been, no? Anyways, the time is up. Let me focus over this question now. In this problem, what had been happening, just focus over this. At very beginning, we will be performing the integration. And as the integration has to be performed with respect to the t, the x would be taken as constant. So don't be confused with the x. No, x would be treated as a constant and can be brought at any time outside. So virtually speaking, the integration of 2t has to be taken place, and that is being stand for 2t square divided by of 2. 2t square divided by of 2. And 2 and 2 is also going to get smashed up. And we will come up with this lower limit and upper limit. Anyways, the lower limit of t is being 0 and the upper limit of t is being g of x, which has been a function of x over here. Which is been a function of x over here. And here comes x now. Here comes x now. And then the limit has to be fed as x tends to 0. Limit has to fed as x tends to 0. Anyways, the limit part we will be keeping separately. Let me focus on this part now. So it is being t square. Upper limit is being gx. This complete function would be raised to the power of 2. Minus of t would be fed as 0. Obviously, it would become 0. And towards denominator side, we are going to have x now. And this becomes limit x tends to 0. Once you'll feed x is equals to 0 in numerator and denominator, you had already seen g of 0 is being 0. That means 0 to the power of 2 is also being 0 divided by 0. It's been the case of indeterminate. 0 by 0. Obviously, easily could have been solved using the concept of L'Hospital rule. L'Hospital rule. What I would do, I would take the differentiation at numerator as well as denominator with respect to the x. And once you do so, this is going to be 2 times of gx. And then we will take a differentiation of gx once again. And towards denominator side, it simply becomes 1. It simply becomes 1. Did you understand what exactly had been happening over here? Yes. And then comes limit x tends to 0. X tends to 0. And once we'll feed this value over here, it becomes g of 0, which is already been 0, g dash 0, which has been a non-zero. But at denominator side, as we had a constant value, I don't worry about it. The answer is supposed to be 0. The answer is supposed to be 0. The answer is supposed to be 0. So you can expect this kind of question in near future. What I'm saying, you can expect this kind of question in near future. And one of the important learning which we get over here, it's been x. As the integration has been made over the t, the x would be treated as a constant, must have been brought out. Nobody should take 1 upon x as a ln of x or ln of t. No, nobody should do so. Nobody should do so. Anyways, I think it's been the right time. I should also be taking a next question as well. Should I increase the level of the question? Should I decrease it? Or whatever the calculation has been done, it's found okay. This kind of questions are again been a very important question. And I feel many of the times the student gets stuck on this point. The student gets stuck on this point. Read it carefully and tell me what would have been the best most answer for this given question. I had brought this problem towards working board and we will try to smash this problem out over here. Yes, read it carefully and tell me what would have been the best most answer for this given question. Again, 3 minutes time are being allocated for this given question. Tell me what must have been the answer for this given question. I need the answer from each one of you. Agreed? No? Tell me. Tell me what must have been the best most answer for this given question. Anyways, I would request to each one of you, the student who had not been onboarded with us, this should go ahead with our paid course subscription, because the amount of effort which will be paid to you guys, and at the same time the way we will be guiding you, definitely you will end up taking a good amount of enhancement in your technical background. If you'll focus over the rank which we had produced in engineering services examination year of 2022, huge. This many ranks are been only and only been from the ranks from the electrical and electronic side. AIR 7, 10, 11, 13, 21, 21. If we'll focus over our Pratigya batch, which is already been started from 15th of December onwards by Sujay sir, and the classes are already been begun with signal system precisely at 7 p.m. in daily basis. All of the top educators have been coming together, and they would cater the best content to you guys, and that too with our Unacademy platform. And the amount of money which you guys have been paying, it's been leased. Have a look of it. And the most important thing, in 2023, the 23% wave up is already been made. My dear friend, such a least amount it was earlier, and then also 23% wave off is been taken place. And amount of money which you have been paying is just been 4,705 and 6,416. My dear friend, and that too you get the subscription of 15th month or 13th month. We will be teaching you in a base of live, and that live courses would always be there with you in Unacademy application, and you can access within this 15 month, within this 13th month. What else you want? What else you want? And that too in the least amount of money. Keep in mind, whenever you have been going ahead with the registration or any kind of purchase, the code which you guys have been using over here, or you guys had to use, it has been GA1111. So far we were talking about the live classes, which has been Pratigya, but now let me focus over the recorded course. And as it had been clearly written, the mode of communication here, it is going to be English. We had also been a course for the English as well, so do not get disheartened in this case. And the amount of content which you have been provided at once has been more than 1300, more than 1300, 1500, more than 1400, more than 1100. And the amount of money which you have been paying, no, really, it has been least, I should say. Least. You won't be able to, I should say, celebrate a party with this amount of money. No, you won't be able to do so. You won't be able to do so. Agreed? And then comes the recorded English course. What has been the basic difference between the English course and English course? In English course, our mode of communication used to be Hindi, but the technical word remains English. So virtually it's been the amalgamation of English plus Hindi, virtually speaking English. But here, you can see very well, here our mode of communication is going to be exclusively in English. The way I had been delivering this lecture, the same like. And the amount of hour which you have been spending, that has been more than 700 with mechanical, civil more than 900, for the electrical more than 1000, for EC more than 900, and similarly for CS and IT more than 900 hours. Again, this has been for 15th month and 13th month. So this has been a consolidation what you have been getting from us. For the English course for the 15 month, you have just been paying 3,421 rupees after waiving of 23%, as the 2023 is being landed up. And same goes with the next course as well. This is going to be 13th month, and again the amount of money which you have been paying is been 4,277 rupees. For English, this has been only and only 4,705 and 6,416. If you guys are been having any kind of problem or the doubt regarding the course, how to get enrolled in the course, what about any kind of technical queries, you can go ahead calling this number. Again, I am saying whenever you have been purchasing any kind of product from us, you should go ahead with this code. You should go ahead with this code. And this is again been a consolidation. You can see, you can have a look on it. You can have a look on it. Yes. Anyways, our recorded course are also been available in a form of GD and PD. See, the older pricing which you had been shown, no, there the basic difference has been those videos would be catered or would be offered in a form of our what, Unacademy platform. Unacademy platform. But here it has been exclusively the pen drive would be sent, or the G drive link would be sent or share with you guys. And this has been, I repeat, this has been the prime most product of the Gate all of the time. All of the time in Gate industry. You can have a look of it. And I would request to each one of you, the student who had already been appear or planning for appearing GATE 2023, this should appear in All India mock test. All India mock test. Already 2 dates are been gone, which are been A4 and 18 are been gone, but still the 8, 18, 8, 15, 22 and 29 are yet to come. You should enroll in this, and the code which you have been using is been GA1111. And the best thing regarding this All India mock test has been, it's been completely, absolutely free with a flawless technical support. Okay, then I think it's been the right time. I should go ahead into my slide again. Read this problem carefully and tell me what could have been the best answer for this given question. Let me start another 3 minutes for you guys. Let me start the another 3 minutes for you guys. Tell me what must have been the best most answer. Tell me what must have been the best most answer. Tell me what must have been the best most answer for this given question. Tell me. My dear friend, you could have done one thing. May I know what? What? See, if you'll focus on the mod of x, no, it is going to be a V-shaped curve, which will have a slope is equals to -1 + 1, and same goes with this as well. But where the V shape would be framed, here it has been at x is equals to 0, and here it has been at x is equals to 1. Virtually speaking, if you had to perform the integration from -2 to 2, you had to frame or you had to calculate the area actually. So rather doing the integration of an entire function, you could have split it into two parts, and the calculation must have been quite easy. So that's been the process which you have been following over here. Let me do one thing. Here comes integration from -2 to +2 of mod of x dx, that I would do separately, and then comes integration from -2 to +2 magnitude of x minus of 1 over dx. So let me focus over the magnitude of x first. Here comes x-axis, here comes y-axis. So rather clubbing them together, we will take their individual calculation and we'll add them together at last. So as it had been clearly known, it is going to be symmetrical taking the reference of y-axis, and this is going to be symmetrical taking the reference of x is equals to 1. X is equals to 1. X is equals to 1. And this has been kind of this. This has been kind of this. It's been like this. It's been like this. It's been like this. So we had to find the area under the curve of x is equals to -2. Vertical line at x is equals to -2, x is equals to +2 vertical line, the function itself, and then x-axis. Virtually speaking, the structure has been kind of this. The structure has been a kind of this. This one. This one. And same goes with this as well. Yeah, and this will be having somewhere here, and this will be having somewhere here. This one. So you have to find this area as well. This one. And then comes this one. This one. My dear friend, at least the height part is known to you. The width has already been given. This has been x is equals to -2, as it had been x is equals to -2. Obviously, the base width is been already known, and that has been 2. And same goes towards right hand side as well. 2. Yes, at x is equals to -2. What you do? You feed x is equals to -2 at modulo of x. Virtually speaking, you lead it to -2 comma +2, and you lead it to 2 comma 2. But my major area of concern is just been its height as well as base. The height has been 2, the base has been 2. Virtually speaking, from the right hand triangle area, it is going to be half times of 2 into 2. 2 into 2, 2 is went out, the result has been 2 over here. And being a congruent triangle, here also the area is going to be 2 now. If you don't agree, you can calculate it. And once you add them together, the result is being expected to be 4. Result is being expected to be 4. Agreed? No? The same thing goes over here as well. See, at x is equals to 1, you can feed the value over there. No, x is equals to 2, sorry. At x is equals to 2, it becomes 2 minus of 1. Virtually speaking, it is been 2 comma 1. And similarly, at x is equals to -2, it becomes -2 minus of 1, that becomes minus of 3. Minus of 3 gets magnitude. Virtually speaking, it is been plus of 3. Plus of 3. You have to get its area only. How will I get so? My dear friend, its height has been clearly known to me. May I know what had been the height over here? The height has been its ordinate, and that has been 1 actually. 1. Agreed, sir. 1. Yes. And you had started from 1 and went till 2. So obviously its base has also been 1. And the 2 is to be divided towards denominator side. Virtually speaking, the area of this region has been half. The area of this region has been 2, 2, and the area of this region has been half. Merely half. Merely half. Let me focus on the remaining reason. See, all the way you had started from x is equals to -2, and you had been moving till x is equals to +1. So the base width has been 3 now. base width is been 3 now. And as we'll talk about its ordinate, the ordinate is been 3 now. The ordinate is also been 3 now. You can see very well. So being a right angle triangle, if we'll talk about its area, it's simply going to be half times of base that has been 3 and height that is also been 3. Virtually speaking, it has been 9 divided by 2, 9 divided by 2, and it has been 1 divided by 2. So why don't we do 1? So 2, that becomes 4. And similarly, 9 by 2 plus 1 by 2. 9 by 2 stands for 4.5 and gets added with 0.5. 4.5 gets added with a 0.5, that becomes 5. And that is been 9 now. That is been 9 now. 9 is the correct most answer. Nine is the correct answer. 9 is the correct answer. Agreed till this point? I don't find any of the students would have any kind of doubt now. So I think it's been the right time. I should also be taking a few more number of questions. So let me go back, taking few number of questions now. So here comes the next few number of questions. We can take this question. Probably in one shot you must be able to give the answer for this given question. Although I would be providing the 3 minutes for this question as well, but I feel like you must have solved this problem by your own. Read it carefully and tell me what would have been the best most answer. Read it carefully and tell me what would have been the best most answer for this given question. For this given question. I had come aside just to have you little bit idea how to go ahead. Okay, tell me what would have been the best most answer. Tell me what must have been the answer for this given question. X cos x is going to be a type of odd function. So the area would be created from 0 to minus pi by 2 and then from 0 to pi by 2 would be equal in magnitude but opposite in polarity. Opposite in polarity. So you should have a little bit idea about it. You should have a little bit idea about it. So yes, once you'll feed this value over here, the result which we have been expecting is simply going to be 0, 0. So anyways, I wish you could have really enjoyed this session. The year of 2022 must have been the very good for you guys, and if it is not, to 2023 we are going to make it best just by putting the extra amount of effort which we couldn't do it in year of 2022. So I think this has been the right time. I should leave this session here itself so that you guys, if you want, you can enjoy yourself. So I think this has been all in today's class. We'll meet in the next class. Till then, bye bye. Take care.